Catback. For many people, the AWE Touring Catback is their, top exhaust system for the GR86. And like a lot of those people, I have made it mine as well. And that's for good reason. This exhaust system is a full catback system that provides a pretty substantial horsepower bump over a lot of other catback systems that are muffled without introducing drone. Their 180-degree technology in their mufflers does manage to eliminate, I don't want to say all of the drone, but 99% of the drone that is produced by this boxer engine, which is, for me, fantastic. The main reason why I decided to go with the AWE Touring system was actually for the increased power bump. You get roughly 8 horsepower over the stock system. The AWE system gives you a much more mature tone when you're getting on throttle. It's not raspy, but it still gives you some of that soupy rumble that is iconic of these boxer engines without going over the top. And I'm not trying to be the loud, raspy 86 that goes by. I just want it to be more of an experience for me personally while driving, and the AWE system adds that extra little bit of drama to the driving experience, along with the extra little horsepower pump. The butt dyno does not really feel it. You don't notice it all too much, but when compared to a stock vehicle, you do end up seeing that little bit of a performance gain. Now, I will say the AWE Touring system has a lot of positives its way. Horsepower, rumble, more mature and engaging tone while driving, while having practically no drone at all. Those are some pretty heavy hitters in the positives, but there are some negatives as well. For some, the pops and bangs on downshifts may be a little too much for them. For me, I really like them. But one thing that is a negative with this system, which is probably the biggest one, is cost. This is a $1,300 catback exhaust system, which for catbacks is still on the more expensive side, but about on par with what other systems are cost. I know the HKS one's gonna run you even more money, but a full catback system is not cheap, and not everybody can afford to spend $1,300 on an exhaust system. The second biggest issue that I have with this system is the cold start. These cold starts are loud, and it just has the cold starts just have a higher tone to them. It's not as deep, it's not as satisfying, and it's just loud. That the startup tone, the cold start tone, is just not as pleasant as my MBRP Axel back. So when I started up the car for the first time, it's loud. It's a little bit obnoxious, that cold start. Every start after the first cold start, perfectly fine. No issues with them. But that first initial one is very loud. With that being said, that will lead me to the next exhaust system, which I had on the vehicle before this, which was the MBRP Axel back system. And that Axel back, I will still vouch for as the best bang for buck exhaust you can put on the 86. It is not obnoxiously loud because you're keeping the stock mid-pipe. It has a great deep tone when you're getting on throttle. It is cost effective. You know, that axle back is $500. You can get it on sale for, you know, just under $5, pretty consistently. It looks great with the carbon tips, and you also get pops and bangs by removing that factory muffler. They're not as aggressive as the as the AWE touring systems pops and bangs, but you still get pops and bangs on downshifts. And the cold start with the MBRP system is significantly better than AWE's. You know, it has a much deeper tone to it. It's not as loud, surprisingly, not having a muffler. It is not as loud as the AWE touring. It is still loud. You may still get complaints from neighbors with that axle back because you don't have the muffler anymore. But I think this cold start on the MBRP is so much better. Granted, because it is an axle back system that is just a muffler delete, you're just keeping that stock mid-pipe, you're not going to see the horsepower gains that you do with the AWE system. You will see some horsepower gains, probably, you know, 3 to 5 horsepower, so not a significant horsepower gain with that system. But aside from not really gaining all that much horsepower, because it is just a muffler delete, you do introduce a lot of drone. And this drone in particular comes on decel, you know, coming down from 5,000 RPM and just letting the car decel. While in gear, you're going to introduce quite a bit of drone into the cabin. It's pretty loud. Honestly, if you are driving hard and experience that decel, it's not that bad. But for day-to-day driving, if you let the engine brake for you on decel, it is pretty loud. And then as far as driving on the highway, you do experience drone at around 2,200 RPM. So in paying less money, you introduce drone, but you do have a lot of benefits that weigh in its favor. The MBRP system still gets my seal of approval and my recommendation if, you know, somebody says, oh, I don't want to spend too much money on an exhaust system for my 86, but I don't really know what I should get. And, you know, my first answer is the MBRP Axel back. You know, it is still, you know, you do have that drone, but you can drive around the drone. And if you're pushing it, that is when you will experience the drone the most. And really, if you're pushing it, you want to, drone is not your biggest concern. As far as the AWE system is concerned, I love this Catback system. You know, cold start aside, I love the tone when you're driving the vehicle. I love the fact that there is no drone. I love the horsepower gains. And I can live with the vehicle having a not ideal cold start. You know, I spend more time listening to my vehicle while driving it than when I first started up. So for me, the AWE touring system is still the pinnacle of exhaust systems, but not everybody can afford it. It doesn't always make sense for everybody. But if you can, get the AWE. If you can't, MBRP is the next best thing. I hope this answers some of the questions and helps you guys make a buying decision on what exhaust system is great or best for you. Let me know what you guys think about this exhaust system or any exhaust system for the 86. Leave a comment down below. See you guys in the next one. Peace.